Hello and welcome to another one of my interviews for Radiant Spark. Today I would like to introduce my new star of the month, Dr. Reverend John Newbern. Am I saying it correctly?
Newell-Byrd. You're doing just fine.
And before I speak with her, I would love to share her bio with you today. I am going to read it. It's such an amazing, we can see all the achievements and everything that she has been able to achieve in her life. As I said, her name is Jan Newell-Byrd, and she was born in Atlanta, Georgia. She grew up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and has lived in Gary, Indiana, Dallas, Texas, and Round Rock, Texas. She now resides in Greenville, North Carolina. Jan Newell-Byrd received a Bachelor of Science degree in teaching at Cheyney State University outside Philadelphia, and her master's degree in administration and supervision from Roosevelt University in Chicago, Illinois. Jan obtained her Doctor of Ministry degree from Covenant Theological Seminary. Reverend Dr. Jan Newell-Byrd is a woman of God with intense dedication to the study of the Bible. She was ordained a minister of the gospel by the Old Eastern Missionary Baptist Association along with her son, Dr. Mark A. Newell, a trauma surgeon at the Vidant Medical Center in Greenville, North Carolina, on October 2nd, 2011. Jan is a published author of two books, The Pickle, a children's book, a memoir testimony of a kept woman from misery to ministry instead of the state penitentiary. Jan has completed her third book, which gives the 7 power keys and strategies God used to enable her to heal and recover from domestic abuse. Soon to be published sequel is entitled From Victim to Victory: How to Recover from the Trauma and Drama of Domestic Abuse. So I would like to introduce Dr. Jan Newell-Byrd. I am so honored that you have accepted my invitation to be my star of the month. As you guys see, I have read all the wonderful achievements and everything that she has achieved. I did wanted to read this part of your bio that's on the top. I want to read this. I did not read it, but it was for a reason. And that's because I wanted to highlight this aspect of your life. It says that you are a victorious survivor and overcomer of both domestic violence and emotional and both verbal abuse and gaslighting. That's something that term I have never heard that before, but I was so blessed at your symposium that you did have Cornerstone and I was able to understand that term. Now, what I was very encouraged. I was blessed by her book, which is the book that was titled From Misery to Ministry Instead of the State Penitentiary. There I was able to read what transpired in your life, and it's so wonderful to see that you did not allow any of that happened to hinder your progress to become that victorious woman that you are today. So I do have 2 questions for you today, Dr. Jan. And that first question is, if someone buys your book, please tell us what they're going to read about and what you're hoping that they obtain after reading your book.
Thank you. That's a good question. My book, I'm finding that there are a lot of people who don't have time to read it. So the next time that when I do a second edition, it will be on an audio book, so they can read it while they drive or as they cook in their kitchen. But the thing that I want them to know is that I married young. I didn't know, if I knew then what I know now, I probably would not have gone through a lot of the things that I did go through. But God allowed me to go through every trauma, every drama for a purpose, and He has used it. This book is about me. It's my life story. I was in an abusive relationship for 42 years. That's a long time.
Yes, it is.
Almost 20 years with husband number one, who was physically violent. He was almost a sociopath. The second marriage, 22 years, and that in that marriage I experienced emotional, verbal, and spiritual abuse, plus the gaslighting. And even though the first marriage was physically violent, I was more broken, and I went through more of transitions with the second marriage, and he never laid a hand on me. And so I'm wondering if there are many people who, because it's not physically violent, they think that they're not in an abusive relationship. I think after reading my book, they can find the difference. What I want them to learn is that if they have Jesus Christ, no matter what they're going through, no matter how broken, how devastated they become, they can be victorious through Jesus Christ.
Yes, that is so true. Thank you so much for those words of encouragement. Now, my second question and last question for you today is, what is your advice for any person that is in an abusive relationship or marriage, and how can they become an overcomer like yourself?
That's a good question. And for me, it's even though I was in an abusive relationship for 42 years, which is an eternity, a long time, I still didn't begin to understand what God was going to do with me. But, and it took another 10 years. And so I'm almost 80 next year. And most people are not as slow as I am. And so they'll get it quickly. But what my purpose now is to empower, equip, and encourage those who are broken and hurting. And this is not just for women. I know we put a lot of emphasis on women being in an abusive relationship, but as strange as it sounds, there are men who are being abused too.
Yes.
Of course, it's more difficult for them, it's more embarrassing, and they don't get as much help. But this is for anyone who has gone through, who are broken or hurting. They can heal. And in my second book, the next book that's going to be hopefully published soon,
Yes.
it's going to enable them to use some of the strategies that God used with me in order to heal and recover. That question, and it depends on your spiritual maturity, but you have to go to God. You're already broken, and so He's the only. It was like Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
Yes.
He broke, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again. But for us, if you have Christ, He can put you back together and make you better than what you were before you were broken. Only God can do that.
Yes.
And this next book is going to tell you some of the strategies, the process of going through it.
And I can't wait to get that book. I will honestly say that I was so blessed when you blessed me with your book. And as I told you, once I started to read the book, I read it in 2 days.
Oh my
Once you
goodness.
read the book, it's like you're there with you. It's like a movie, and I couldn't put it down because I needed to know, well, what's going to happen next. So I will also be sharing the information as to where you can purchase the book. I would like to encourage everyone to read this book. Even though I will share your testimony in the blog, you still can capture and get everything that she has gone through with the bio, the summary I'm going to share. You have to read this book. I'm not just saying it because Dr. Jan is here with me, but it's such an amazing book. It's one that you're going to be uplifted, you're going to be encouraged, and when I read the book, I felt encouraged to move forward.
Exactly
And I am hoping that so many people will be healed, especially those that are going through abusive relationships or marriage, like you said, male or female. So please stay tuned for the information of my blog. I will soon be announcing when it's going to be available for you to read it. Be blessed and stay encouraged.